Hello, sir. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, sir. Thank you for joining us. I know that you are new on this program. Can you briefly give us a little bit background of yourself, your name?
All right. My name is Julius Ebudagi, and I'm a PRO practitioner. I'm an educationist, uh, a high school administrator, and I live in Lagos. I'm a linguist and a management person as well.
Thank
Well,
mm,
I was trained in universities of Benin and Lagos, and we've been practicing. I guess that's enough.
Yes, thank you, sir. Thank you. You grew up in
Thanks.
Benin. You were born in Benin. You were born in
Yes,
Benin.
I
You grew
was
up
born
in
in
Benin
Benin
as well. Yeah.
yeah, I was born in Benin in late 60s, and I was born and bred in Benin. I had all my first three educations in Benin. That's primary, secondary, and tertiary.
Mm. Thank you. Thank you for joining us on the program today. So, yesterday we saw some big shops spotted, with Tinubu, even though Tinubu is promoting the idea of Muslim ticket in the country. So, some Nigerians were outraged over the support of these big shops. They said it's unfair for APC to be promoting Muslim tickets in the country. I'm not sure if this idea is supported by the constitution. That is what I said in our previous show. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you very much. Well, yesterday we also uh,
Mm.
it was actually the occasion of unveiling the running mate to the APC presidential flag bearer. So he was unveiled at the Yaradua Center in Abuja. Well, I know that from the very moment the idea was muted, a number of Nigerians actually raised their voice against Muslim ticket. I have an open mind to that issue. First and foremost, I told most people that the Muslim ticket constitutionally is not against any known laws in Nigeria. So we will start from there. However, there are conventions, and the sensitivity and sensibility of Nigerians are taken into consideration when certain things are put in place. For example, what the Westerners refer to as affirmative action, which we call Federal Character Commission, is an attempt to address what may be referred to as lopsidedness in appointment. And that is supposed to take care of certain interests to create a balance. Now, the issue of Muslim, Christian ticket, North, South, and so on and so forth, it is an attempt to create a balance, to create a sense of belonging for every shade or every aspect or creed of Nigerians. It is not as if it is constitutional, but this is something that we have come to agree with. And that is why every successive government try as much as possible to make that balance. And so because it has registered in our psyche, we tend to say, well, this is the way to go. Frankly speaking, I believe that anything that will cause or that will heat up the polity unnecessarily, we should avoid it. And therefore, when most Nigerians cried against Muslim ticket, it was against the backdrop of the fear of domination of a particular religion over and against the others, especially when we have been seeing a situation where Christians are targeted, are murdered wantonly, not only in the north, but gradually coming to south. And so it was the thinking of Nigerians that there should be a balance, just as the political actors, they try as much as possible to have one of the partner in the south, the other of the partner in the north. And so if they have that at the back of their mind, so some are of the opinion that the person should have gone further and also have the other faith. So that is what it is. However, I want to believe that the presidential candidate of APC is thinking more of winning than satisfying a particular group. Now, what do we mean by that? The permutation is that a Christian, a northern Christian, may not pull enough votes in the north. I don't have a statistic to back this up, but there is that notion that the Muslims are a majority in the north. Now, the presidential candidate, Tinubu, he is galvanizing to pull southern votes. So for him, his calculation and the calculation of the party is that they need to appoint someone who can galvanize vote of majority of people in the north. And that is why he chose a Muslim. Because the duty of the party is to win. And anybody that he feels will pull more vote, and that is the person he will give the ticket to. The question is that you mean there is no northern Christian that can pull vote? Everybody say, show us that person, then we recommend. Now, what is my take? I believe the convention that it should be balanced should have been the best thing to go, should have been the best way to go. But then, the presidential candidate is thinking of winning. And he believes that the best way to win is to get the person that will get greater support in that region. One thing I want to give to that presidential candidate is that, in my own opinion, he himself is not a radical Muslim. Neither is he a passionate Christian. Now, it appears that he is a friend of both sides, given the fact that his own wife is a Christian. I'm just looking at him from his own personal background. He is like Abiola, who will say, if Muslims are having function, he's there. If Christians are having function, he is also there. So that is the reason why people say maybe he should be given that chance. Still, personally, I would have preferred a situation where he balances it with Muslim Christian. Now, having settled that, the incident that played out yesterday by getting some Christian cleric to witness the occasion, it is an attempt to appeal to the Christian to say, look, we are all together. But then the report that he made yesterday claimed that those people who came were not actually uh, church fathers. What do we mean by church fathers? The bishops. They were identifying then that, oh, this is not a bishop, this is not a bishop, and so on and so forth. I don't have fact of it, but from what we got, it appears that those people are not really church fathers. But it shows a level of desperation to paint a picture that even the Christians are with us. It shows a level of trying to appeal to the Christians and say, look, we are one. Some of you even supported us. Now, I posed a question. Me, I am honest about my postulation. I posed a question. I said, today, or for the past 7 years, we've had a government that have a Christian Muslim or Muslim Christian. That is, we are talking of Buhari Osinbajo regime. I said, even with the current Christian Muslim, what have we even benefited from that time? That we are making it in such a way that it must be this for this to be this. And I told them, I said, are we not currently having that arrangement? What have we benefited out of it? That is a story for another day. But my conclusion here is that the ideal situation is to have a good balance. The ideal situation is to have a good balance, north-south, Christian, Muslim. That's ideal. However, the presidential candidate, he knows where he's going to. He is rooting for who will deliver. And I said, Nigerians, we have alternative. If you think these people are not sensitive to the situation, for Christ's sake, you move elsewhere. Thank God that this is a multi-plural society and this is a multi-party arrangement. There are alternatives. If we feel agreed, if we feel these people are not taking into cognizance our sensibility, then you can go elsewhere. That is my take on it.
You have said it also. I said the same thing on this program few days ago with Mr. Uraka, who said never, that is very offensive for APC to be promoting this idea of Muslim ticket. I said, how many Christian politicians are there in the north? Because these people, they want a candidate that will boost their vote for them. So how popular are these Christian politicians in the north? For me, I believe that they choose a Muslim running mate because that is the only way they can get more votes in the northern region, because it seems that Muslims are the dominant group in the north, right? It's crystal clear to all of us that the Muslim population is the dominant group in the north. That is why Mr. Oraka disagreed with me. So, and it's like you are saying the same thing as what I said a few days ago on this program. Going back again, I also asked Mr. Oraka that can you compare Tinubu Muslims, especially the Yorubas who are Muslim in the south, with Muslims, the Hausa and Fulanis in the north, if they are the same? He said no. He said no, because if you look at it, they are not the same. Okay, therefore, you should not overemphasize this idea that Tinubu is a Muslim, blah, 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 all those things. Like what you just highlighted, that even Tinubu's wife is a Christian, right? He's a Christian. So, and this idea of criticizing Muslim ticket is something that is not violating the constitution. I keep asking this question. That is why I pose the question again today, that is this thing violating the constitution? They said no, because some Nigerians are angry with what is going on in the country, especially the recent attack on a church that led to the death of dozens of Nigerians who were worshiping peacefully in their church. So because of that, many Nigerians are very sensitive to this Muslim tickets by APC. So, Mr. Akpojebe, what
Yeah.
is your take on it? Go ahead, sir.
Well, it's a funny development happening in Nigeria. If we go by what has happened in the past, ordinarily, there's nothing to worry about this Muslim ticket. There is no section of the Constitution which says that it must be a Christian, Muslim, or whatever, what's it called, a religion should be taken into account in appointing people to public offices. But the Constitution is in support. I mean, there are clear cut, I can't remember of it. There are sections of the Constitution which guarantees what in South Africa they call Black economic empowerment. In some countries, they call it, we call it federal character. In some other countries, they call it different names. The reasons, I mean, the essence of Black economic empowerment is that at the end of apartheid in South Africa, they realized the inequity in the system. The Blacks were grossly underdeveloped compared to the whites. So to bridge the gap, they brought a formula they call Black economic empowerment. Now, in Nigeria, this federal character issue, it is believed that the North is behind the South, particularly in the area of education. So for that reason, they brought this, what's it called, federal character, problem or issue. Now, the way it is being implemented since independence till now has given a lot of people cause for worry. Anyway, that is that. Now, let's come back to this Muslim issue. In the days of Yakubu Gowon, if I'm not mistaken, his deputy was Vice Admiral Akinwale Wayne. That guy was a Christian. Yakubu Gowon was a Christian. Now, there was no cause for alarm because the tension we have in society now is different from the tension we had in the society in the days of Yakubu Gowon. We were grappling with the effects of the Civil War. That was the tension in society then. But now there's a clear case of persecution. The Christians are being persecuted. The Muslims are also persecuting Muslims. The country now is so nasty because the government in power seem not to have a firm grip on a number of things. So people are so worried. And because of that, they've come up with this idea of Muslim, or whatever ticket. I still remember the case of Moshood Abiola. I think his deputy or his running mate was King Gigbe. That guy was also a Muslim. Nobody bothered about it because there was no reason to worry. People worry only if there's a reason to worry. In the days of Abiola, there was no reason to worry. The confidence was there, at least to a very large extent, but now that is not the case. So this is why people are so worried about this Muslim ticket. But
Yes,
one
it's
thing is,
because what is going on in the country. People are very
yes,
critical of the
yes.
situation that if you
One thing
give
is this.
opportunity to Muslim tickets in the country, maybe they will not address this issue of Muslim attacking Christians.
No,
So they are afraid. People are afraid.
as Julius rightly pointed out, Osibanjo has been the vice president since what's called Buhari's, tenure. What has he done to address the problem of Christians? Now, if Bola Tinubu should take a Christian from the north right now to be his deputy, what is the guarantee that that Christian will protect the interest of Christians in the north? The federation. Osibanjo could not do it. Nobody's condemning him. Why are we worried now? So we should be very clear about a number of things. I want to make one or 2 points. We should not be worried about Muslim or Christian, whatever it is. These people are the same people mismanaging the country since independence. From 1960 till now, it's the same class of people mismanaging the country. If they have made the fatal error of coming up with Muslim ticket, and members of the public are not happy with it, I think the best thing is for them to remain silent while they walk into their graves. You just go to the polls, cast your vote, and at the end of the day, they will realize that, oh, if we had known, we wouldn't have gone for this Muslim ticket. But now we've raised alarm, and they're now very conscious of the mistake they have made. So they are now looking for ways and means to correct these errors. If Nigerians had known, they would have remained quiet. Let them walk into their graves, then you bury them alive and forget all about them. These guys are all nuisance, as far as I'm concerned. All the politicians, they're all nuisance. So that is that for Muslim, or whatever ticket it is. My worry is that all the presidential candidates, none is coming up with clear-cut, programs, clear-cut policies to address the problems of the country. On this program, a number of times in the past, I have made reference to Chief Obafemi Awolowo. When I was in high school, he launched his what they call Unity Party of Nigeria, UPN. They came up with clear-cut political, manifestos, free education at all levels, full and gainful employment, integrated rural development, and free medical services. These were his 4 cardinal programs. They quizzed this man and he came up with statistics, figures to back up his plans on how to implement these programs. And at the end of the day, I think the Western State and Bender State voted for him, and he did his best, particularly in the area of education, because he did his homework. These guys who are contesting right now, none has been able to come up with a clear-cut blueprint that this is how I'm going to address X, Y, Z problems. Now, there's something they should let Peter Obi know. All the people asking him questions right now, they are concentrating only on problems within Nigeria. This Nigeria problem has spilled over in such a way that it's affecting Nigerian economy. Let me cite 2 clear examples. During apartheid in South Africa, Nigeria had no trade relationship with the country. Then at the end of apartheid, they established a relationship. The first consignment of crude oil that left Nigerian shores for South Africa was diverted to Cayman Islands. South African businessmen hijacked it on the way, took the consignment to Cayman Island, they sold it and pocketed the money. The Nigerian government was in the picture, but they refused to do anything. A white South African newspaper exposed it in South Africa. Now, here in the Gambia where I live, when Yahya Jammeh took over the government of this country from Sadauda Jawara in 1994, July 22nd, 1994, during the investigations that followed, they discovered that the military government of Muhammadu Buhari gave this country 18 million barrels of crude oil for developmental purposes. The 18 million barrels of crude oil was unaccounted for. Till this day, nobody has been able to say XYZ about 18 million barrels of crude oil the Nigerian government gave to the Gambian government free of charge. You see, there are a lot of deals going on between African governments and the Nigerian government. But unfortunately, nobody is saying anything about this. And it's running into billions of dollars, particularly in the area of crude oil. So these are issues, these presidential candidates should tell us, how do you hope to address these issues? So they are not precise enough in formulating solutions to the problems of the country. If you listen carefully to Peter Obi, he will tell you, oh, my record is there in Anambra State to show. Oh, I will block all the loopholes. These are things people will like to hear. But how do you hope to go about it? Now, for example, if the election is annulled, if the ruling cabal discovered that this guy is about to win the election and the election is annulled, what solution has he to solve that? To address that particular problem? Nobody is asking him such questions. So there are a lot of things involved. The issue confronting us is more than Muslim ticket. If they have, as I've said earlier on, if they have decided to go for Muslim ticket and bury themselves alive, so be it. And according to the Muslims, Santa Yala, that is thanks be to God. So that is my position on this matter.
Yes, like what I said earlier, people are very sensitive to this Muslim ticket because of what has been going on in the country. This idea of some group of gunmen, you know, storming churches, killing innocent worshippers. So, and they believe that these killings are all embedded in this religious conflicts in the country, that the Muslim or some, as some criminals are using the name of Muslim to attack Christians. Because I will repeat this over and over again on this program, that a real Muslim will never attack Christians. So these are a group of criminals who are using the name of Muslim to attack churches and kill innocent worshippers. And many Nigerians, especially the Southerners, they are very sensitive about this type of ticket coming out in Nigeria again, because they believe that because of their Muslim background, they might be biased in addressing the issue of Muslim and Christian conflicts in the country, given that the Muslims have been constructed as the group of people killing the Christians in the country. Because I won't call these people who are killing Christians real Muslims, because these people, a real Muslim will never attack Christians. So, but according to the perception of the people right now, that the Muslims are attacking the Christians. That is what they believe, and they are sensitive to Muslim tickets in the country. Not that this idea is even conflicting the constitution in any way at all. It's not conflicting it, and it's not violating it at all.
The Muslim or Christian, whichever thing they call it, ticket shouldn't have been the big deal or big thing if institutions on grounds are functioning. Now, what do I mean by that? If the law enforcement agents are doing their work just as it is, as enabled by the Constitution, I will care less who is there. Because if in a situation that we have the law actually doing what it's supposed to do, then if anybody go against the right of anybody, the law is there to take its course. If the security agency are up and running with good intelligence network, so some of these perpetrators, some call them terrorist, bandits, or non-government, you round them up and let them face the music. And that is all about it. You see, it is absence of strong institution that makes the ordinary or the average politician say, we want our man there. If we have strong institutions, it will not bother anybody who is there. With all due respect, if a Christian is currently the vice president, what have I as a Christian and as a Southerner, what meaningful thing have I benefited? Okay, what meaningful thing have Christians and Southerners benefited in the real sense of it? You will discover that it is all hot air. And when you go to the north too, with Buhari as a president, go and look at the rate of insecurity. It is not only the Christians that they are killing. No. These bandits, sometimes they don't even know religion. Okay? But if we have a strong law enforcement agency, a functional one, with good intelligence network, you see these criminals will be I call them criminals. These criminals will be rounded up and they will do the needful. And it's as simple as that. That is my take. And that is why I said I have joined those who have been advocating for restructuring, starting with the armed forces, state police. Now, a situation where every state has control over insecurity, some of this insecurity that we are seeing will be curtailed. If, for example, the police in those states, take for example, he knows that the governor can sack him if he cannot live up to his constitutional ability, then he will sit up. A situation where insecurity is going on in Edo State and the police are waiting for final whistle from Abuja before they act, it is appalling. I often hear when something happens, they will say the president has directed the relevant security agency to flush out the perpetrator. The question I ask myself is that, why will you wait for the president directive? Is it not your job? It is your job. But the command structure, we already know that that one is faulted. But where the state have control, because you say the state governor is the chief security officer and he has no direct command of a force, how can he solve insecurity? But I want to tell you that there could be a competitive security situation where each governor is saying, please, this bandit here is off limit. If state A chase out this bandit and they enter state B chase them out too, until they get to the boundary of the country and go. Then if there's any state that want to harbor them, so be it. If you can harbor them, fine, but here we cannot harbor them. And that will raise this issue of Muslim, Christian, or Christian, Muslim, and all those ones. Because the root cause of it is that those who are supposed to take care of state of insecurity, they failed, and that is why we are looking for someone who will come with a political situation. For me, I stand to be corrected. Security situation is not actually a political situation, but a situation that the armed forces are supposed to curb. And that armed forces should be free from political hoodwinking so that they will do their own bit. Yes, the president can appoint, but the armed force should be loyal to the people and not just the politicians. And if they are doing their work successfully, with the constitution guaranteeing them free from political shenanigans, you will see that these things will go. But again, the issue of state police, I want to confess, that is a big talk for another day.
Thank you.
Hear me?
Mr. Raka, go ahead. Mr. Akojebe, go ahead.
Okay.
Let's say,
Okay. Now, the issue of Muslim ticket or whatever it is, people are afraid. Also because those who are calling the shots in Nigerian political system are principally Muslims. Whenever the bandits or whatever they call them are caught, they've discovered that some of them are from the Niger Republic. And we have a president who has got ancestral links with Niger Republic. There was a time during an electionary campaign in Sokoto State, two prominent government officials came all the way from Niger to campaign in Sokoto State for a particular party, probably APC, or I don't know. It's an interference in the affairs of the country. Government is not worried. Now, I'm not saying other Africans should not come to Nigeria. We have rules and regulations governing how we relate with each other in the country. If you go to Ghana, for example, The Airways are in Togo. The Airways are also in Ghana. But Togolese Airways and Ghanaian Airways are not the same. Here in the Gambia, the Wolofs are in the Senegal. The Wolofs are also in the Gambia, but they know each other. In South Africa, the Ndebeles are in Zimbabwe. They are also in South Africa. That's how it is all over, Africa. But the funny thing is that when these boys commit horrendous atrocities, nothing is being done. To the extent that the UN headquarters in Abuja was reduced to rubble. Up to today, nobody has been prosecuted. The Kuje prison, what's it called? The breaking into Kuje prisons. Some of the detainees have been there for the past 10 years. Why should they be there for the past 10 years? What investigations have they been carrying out for the past 10 years? And since these boys escaped, what has been done to get them arrested? Now they are telling us funny stories. One was caught in so place, one was caught in that place. Why? Personally, I find it difficult to believe government, because even if they bring a photograph of somebody caught in a particular state, that photograph could be a photograph of a dead man. They can show you the photograph of a dead man. They say this guy has been caught in River State. How do you know? So we have lost confidence in the Federal Republic of Nigeria. And this is also one of the reasons why people are asking for the breakup of the country. Though I don't subscribe to that. That is not the solution to the problem. Now let's come back to this issue of insecurity. Something happened at Owo. Innocent worshippers were assassinated. Immediately, government swung into action and said it is caused by ISWAP. But let's take note of something. The ISWAP boys, whenever they commit any atrocity anywhere, they gladly claim responsibility. To them, it's a mark of honor that they caused that atrocity. They even go out on their own to announce it. But the government of Nigeria quickly came out and told us that these boys committed the atrocities in our war. Now, we need to go deep into this matter. Who actually committed the atrocity? Because up till now, ISWAP has not claimed responsibility. So it is very funny. Even Boko Haram, whenever they do anything, they claim responsibility. So why is it that such a dastardly act in our war, ISWAP has not claimed responsibility up till now? So these are issues we should carefully look into. There are a lot of things happening in the country. The Nigerian situation is murky. It's very, it's really murky to the extent that people don't even know what to do. Now the election is coming. Now this issue of bishops. This issue of bishops who were present at the APC gathering could be a decoy or a ploy by the ruling party to deceive people that these are actual bishops, because I think the Catholic Diocese of Abuja also, they've said that those guys are no bishops, because even the way they put on their their cassocks and other things, that they don't look, that's not the way they wear it. That's the point they are making. Now, they want to create the impression that the Christians are with us. But I'm looking at it from a slightly different point of view. This PVC, something we are talking about, is computerized. Now, with the influx of aliens pouring into the country from the north, from northern states like Niger, Chad, Burkina Faso, Mali, and what have you, pouring into the country, what is the guarantee that these boys have not been given PVC, cards behind the scene? So on the day of election, when you see them pouring in the votes, no matter the number of Christians you have in the South or in the Middle Belt, they rubbish everything and take over the country. So the country is in a very precarious situation. And if it is civil war that will solve this problem, it will be a tragedy. But from the look of things, I do not see any easy way out of this problem, because I've been of the belief that there's no way we can reform Nigeria without taking great risk. The reason is because we've slept on this problem since 1960. When the Maitasine boys struck, I think somewhere in the Borno State during the days of Abubakar Rimi said, late Abubakar Rimi said that the greater Maitasine is yet to come. That was what the man said long before he died. And this is the greater Maitasine this guy was talking about. They've come. We did not prepare for them. So we should be ready for something else. And this is why on this program in the past, I said this coming election should be called off, should be canceled completely. Instead, at the end of Buhari's tenure, the so-called National Assembly to come up with an interim measure to suspend the Constitution and set up an interim administration to work out the modalities to stabilize the country for at least 6 months or 1 year, then they conduct proper elections. But with the kind of criminals in the House of Assembly, it is not possible for such a thing to take place. So I still believe that there is no way we can rescue Nigeria without taking great risks. And the great risk I'm talking about could result in anything. I'm not saying the country should break up, but if it happens to be one of the outcome of the risk we are going to take, so be it. Because people cannot bequeath future generations with this kind of problems we are grappling with. Nations all over the world are making giant strides towards, they are advancing at a terrific rate. Man is already looking for alternative home in space. Instead of us to team up with them to look for alternative home in space, we are racing to Afghanistan.
Mm.
The Americans left Afghanistan. We are going there to take over from them.
Said
That is the situation
we said we are top one of the top 10 oil producing countries in the world. Still, we are even poorer than the poorest country in Africa. Common electricity, basic necessity is not available in Nigeria. We don't have steady electricity. Ask me, the poorest country in the world today, if they are still dealing with electricity issue. But in Nigeria, we said we are the giants of Africa, and we are one of the top 10 oil producing countries in the world. Still, we still don't have common electricity. Water, we still don't have water in Nigeria. If you are not financially buoyant enough to have well in your house, you have to buy water to cook, you have to buy water to drink in Nigeria. So what type of country is that in 21st century? Basic necessity, we still don't have it in Nigeria. So you're telling me, like what Mr. Sani said the other day, that Nigeria is doing better. Even Canada, Nigeria is doing better than Canada in some aspects. Look at the oil price in Canada is going up. Look, oil price in Canada went up for only a few days. After a while, dropped significantly. How many times have you experienced something like that in Nigeria? If anything, if any issue is affecting the Canadian society, the government will work on it, address it as soon as possible. But in Nigeria, how many times have we addressed any issue affecting the country? Common electricity. For how many years we have been debating, we have been protesting for a steady, let me finish, sir, for a steady electricity in the country. Nobody is doing anything. This government will come and go. The other government will come and start blaming the past one. That is what we have been experiencing in the country over these years. I will allow, you have spoken, sir. I will allow Mr. Julius to also add to that. Mr. Julius, go ahead.
Okay, thank you very much. I know that Mr. Dr. Liberty is speaking from the perspective of the country moving towards a chaos, and I share his sentiments. But where I differ is that we don't want a situation that will take us 20 or 30 years back, a situation that will force us to Stone Age. a situation where we will achieve what the Greek refer to as a Pyrrhic or Pyrrhic victory. That is the kind of victory that will make you sprint out. Now, I still believe we can achieve something out of this mess. Only today or yesterday, the National Assembly passed a law that removed electricity provision. I'm using electricity because it just came. That removed electricity generation and distribution from exclusive list to concurrent. It said, state, if you can source electricity for yourself, go ahead. And now that is going to sound the death knell of state-controlled resources. Why did I bring this one? I am reacting to what you said, that the nation cannot provide basic activity. Now, it is the reason why the nation cannot provide basic activities is simply because we are over-centralizing this thing in few hands. And there is no modern nation that can make any useful progress with central authority. No, it doesn't work that way. Everything is decentralized and a competitive market. It's as simple as that. Now, if we have a situation where there is a decentralization, you will discover that some of these things that is controlled from the central and politically ridden, it will gradually ease off. Then there will be competition. Now, let's take a classic example. If, for example, a company comes to Lagos, I live in Lagos. Lagos is a state, not a city. I live in Lagos. If a company comes to where I live, Ikeja area, and say, look, we want to be providing electricity for inhabitants or for citizens or inhabitants of Ikeja, you are going to be paying so and so and so. We say, okay, go ahead, and we are paying. Then you will discover that this same company, people from Shomolu, people from Agbara will call them and say, come and provide for us. Then you will now see a company springing up and say, we can also do the same thing. In Lagos State alone, where there are 3 or 4 electricity companies generating and distributing electricity, the price will come down because you go for the one that is cheaper. And so the economy will rise and things will be in a good circulation. But a situation where some people are confessed centrist and using taxpayers' money to carry dead, centralized economy, it won't work. It will not work. And now, when you decentralize, there is a tendency, at least an economic theory, there is a tendency that more players will enter. When more players enter, then they will need manpower. And when there is manpower and is being hired, you see that several people will leave the street and be engaged. Where am I going to? One of the greatest sources of insecurity is ability for terrorists or gangs to hire ready hands that are idle. For example, now, as I'm here, there is no amount of preaching a terrorist organization will preach to me to say, come and join my group when I have my job to do. But if they go to the idle youth, that is a good recruitment ground. And may I just add, when the presidential candidate was...
I think there's one parable that says the idle hands is a devil's workshop.
It's a devil's workshop. And so when the presidential candidate of APC, on the lighter note, when he said, look, recruit, let me be making, recruit 50 million youth. You feed them with this, you feed them with that. We all laugh over it. I want to assure you that if we look inward, what he's saying is achievable. Indirectly, he's telling us the government is capable of generating job for these teeming youth, either directly or indirectly. Directly, that they can engage them and utilize them, or they will create an environment where businesses will spring up and they will engage this teeming youth. Once they are engaged, I want to assure you that those they are recruiting for insecurity will disappear. If you go through the street of Lagos today, you will see idle hands everywhere. As I drive through, I see them, they are sitting down, waiting. Some of them, they call them touts, some of them, they call them agbero, and etc., etc. I say, well, if anybody comes in here and say, look, I have a job for you that will pay even as small as 20,000, without asking them what's the nature of the job, they will get up and say, let us go. And they say, okay, this job is to go and maim or destroy that place. If you are not doing it, give me back my 20,000. They say, I'd rather eat than and they recruit them and they have a ready market. That is the situation where we are. And it requires a political solution. Some people said maybe the country should disintegrate. I say, well, I don't like that word, disintegrate. Perhaps if we say we want to renegotiate our coming together, there is no problem about that. Yugoslavia successfully did it. You remember? So the six nations that came out of Yugoslavia, Slovakia, Serbia, and so on and so forth, they successfully negotiated and they left the Union. But I want to say that in Africa, we are not even matured enough to negotiate such a thing. This is a place where an attempt to negotiate peaceful separation, it will lead to civil war. And I want to assure you that in Africa, civil war is a costly venture, a costly one that we will have more dead than living at the end of the war. That will not be our portion.
We don't have war in Nigeria. People are dying from minor diseases. People are dying every day from minor diseases. So if we add war to it, what do you think will be the impact? We don't want to even go there. Anyway, sir, thank you for your contribution today. We have to end to this program like this. Why we'll come back tomorrow. Okay, sir. I don't know why this thing is echoing. Anyway, we're going to end this program like this today. Mr. Julius, thank you so much. At the beginning, we wanted to just say something briefly. We have spent almost 1 hour here now. It is time to end the program. Right, tomorrow we'll come back. It's going to be the same time tomorrow, 7 p.m., right?
Okay.
Okay, sir. Thank you so much. I really appreciate your insight because you brought a new insight to the program. Anytime I bring a new guest to this program, it's always like that, that you get something new. Your own insight is a little bit different from what other guests have been saying on this program today, especially regarding this Muslim tickets in Nigeria. Thank you so much. Uwesi. Mr. Kwadere, thank you, sir.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you. Mr. Kwadere, can you hear us?
Yes, I can hear you.